Let's talk about the greatest rivalry in NBA history. Not Magic vs. Bird, not Jordan vs. the Pistons, not LeBron vs. the Warriors. We're talking about the greatest enemy to every single team. The only unbeatable squad in the league. We're talking about none other than the officiating team. The referees. The refereeing in the current NBA season has become a focal point of conversation. Referees have faced growing dissatisfaction from players, coaches, and fans alike. And while the complaint about officiating has existed as long as the sport, this year there has been some particularly questionable calls, and some players and coaches have been vocal about it.
I have a problem with the way we are legislating defense out of the game. You know, just baiting refs into the calls, and it's disgusting to watch.
It's hard to, man, with the calls that Shea gets. It's hard. It's hard to shut him down.
That's outrageous. What happened tonight, this is completely BS. This is shame. Shame for the referees, shame for the league to allow this. How's that possible? How are you going to explain that to me? They had to win tonight? If that's the case, just let us know so we don't show up for the game.
But before we get into that, to help the channel continue to grow, please subscribe. We've had some great progress recently and want to keep the momentum going, so thank you. Now, referees are obviously human, and one might argue that they have the hardest job on the court. In the modern game, replays, 2-minute reports, and viral press conferences put more pressure than ever on the NBA's officiating crews. And maybe the referees' performances are actually better than they're given credit for. Or maybe there's a deeper problem within the NBA's rules. In a series of polls done by The Athletic in April 2023, one poll asked NBA players the question, "What's the biggest issue facing the league?" Among other answers like social media, mental health, and load management, the number one answer came back as officiating. Yes, NBA players feel like the greatest problem in today's league is the refs. And in some ways, the refs are living up to that poll. In a recent game, the Boston Celtics experienced a 2-point loss to the Indiana Pacers. But the ending of that matchup was controversial to say the least. With the game tied and 6 seconds remaining on the game clock, and the ball in Jaylen Brown's hands, he attacks the Pacers' defense. He elevates, fading to his right for a shot attempt, and with 3 seconds left, the refs blow the whistle on what looks like a close call. Brown immediately nods and points to indicate that he was hit on the head, and makes his way towards the free throw line with hopes to give the Celtics the edge. But with one timeout remaining, the Pacers challenge the call, and surprisingly, it's successful. Now, the replay shows clearly that Buddy Hield makes contact with both the ball and the back of Brown's head. So is this a foul? In the official 2-minute report, released after the game is over and has been reviewed further, the league stood by the overturned call, explaining that the video clearly shows that Hield reaches forward and makes contact with the ball from behind Brown. While in contact with the ball, Hield also makes minimal contact with Brown's head, and on review, that contact was correctly deemed incidental. As the rulebook makes clear, the mere fact that contact occurs does not necessarily constitute a foul. Contact which is incidental to an effort by a player to defend an opponent, reach a loose ball, or perform normal defensive or offensive movements is not considered illegal. Now, there seems like an obvious gray area in this rule, but even looking back, the NBA's decision to double down on an overturned call through that 2-minute report is telling to say the least. While NBA players took to social media to express their opinions, and the common fan probably thought the refs were wrong, the incident does bring up some important questions with officiating. Are the rules clear enough? And are the refs calling or not calling fouls consistent with those rules? Throughout this season alone, the NBA's officiating last 2-minute reports have exposed numerous instances of incorrect calls, shaping the outcome of games. While errors can be expected in the fast-paced moments requiring quick judgment, the problem persists even in reviewed situations.
I mean, it's super frustrating in the sense of what the hell we got replay for. What do we have replay for if even the replay gets it wrong?
There appears to be inconsistencies in the officiating, including both missed calls and excessive calls, both real-time calls and reviewed calls. There's also a popular perspective that referees wield technical fouls and ejections like weapons, punishing a player who dares to express frustration, celebration, argument, or any act that the ref views as excessive or incorrect. While these accusations are likely exaggerated by biased fans, including myself at times, there seems to be an inconsistency from player to player. For example, on one of these two plays, just one of these players was given a technical, and it might not be the one you would guess.
And he threw his arms down at the officials. I'm not sure what he's so upset about. I don't either. And the stuff he gets away with, it blows my mind. But he was initiating that he wanted to review. Jokic reverse.
He thought he got fouled right there. The same guy that called him down on the other end.
Oh, they threw Jokic out of the game. I think they're throwing Jokic out of the game. Musa Dagger making.
Oh my goodness. They're not throwing him out of the game, really, are they?
Now, to be fair, it's not clear exactly what Jokic says to the refs. But one thing is clear. Some players are given a lot more patience when it comes to arguing and complaining. There's an inconsistent tolerance towards each player and really each ref. Engaging in trash talk, displaying heated actions, and engaging in arguments are inherent aspects of the game. It's competition after all. And it's reasonable to issue technical fouls or even eject players for unsportsmanlike conduct when boundaries are exceeded. However, when the measures are applied irrationally or inconsistently, it detracts from the game and diminishes the experience for players and for fans. The frequency of technical fouls and ejections has escalated over the years. As of January 14th, there have been 29 player ejections in the 2023-24 season alone. The sheer volume of these sanctions has led many fans to criticize the NBA and its referees, branding them as soft. I mean, it's easy to understand why there's such a thing as a technical foul, but some of these are downright stupid. But aside from technical fouls, common fouls haven't changed as much. The numbers continue to tell a similar story each season. Of course, foul rules change over the years. Other eras seemed more physical, and there's a real argument that the rules favor offense today. But take a simple stat like how many personal fouls are committed per game, and the numbers have been consistently around the same number for decades. If anything, less fouls are being called in recent years. Now, these numbers can be explained in many ways, but it seems like the refereeing is probably not as bad as fans make it seem. In doing research for this video alone, I came across older articles making some of the same complaints as today. Do players bait for fouls? Yes. Do players flop? Of course. Do referees make huge mistakes on the court? Definitely. But I think it has been and will always be part of the game. Do you think the officiating is getting worse? Let us know in the comments. And again, please support the channel and subscribe. Thanks for watching Basketball Pantheon.